So this is always a really exciting time of year in the Kubota world, and especially for us as a Kubota dealership. It's the time of year where Kubota announces their new products for the following year. So I was just down in Toronto last week looking at the new products, and I'm gonna be here today going over what I saw, what I liked, what I didn't like, and what's gonna be new for 2026. The biggest thing that is gonna be new for 2026 is gonna be the new edition of the 6060 model. It's gonna be a L70 series. So that's going to replace our L6060, L4060, 3560, that series of tractors. It has been largely the same since 2012. So it's really nice to see a new kind of redesign of this tractor and a lot of new features packed into this tractor. What I saw, I really liked. So I'm going to go today, some of the stuff I saw in that model, some of the stuff I didn't. So I'm gonna start by going into the 6070s. That's gonna be the new 6060 model. So this model only comes in the premium edition. So if you're looking at the new L70 series, you'll notice that some models are available in a deluxe and some are available in a premium. The deluxe is only available in the lower horsepower models, 35 horsepower, 40 horsepower. They're gonna be similar to our old 3560 and 4060. They're gonna be missing a couple of the features I'm gonna talk about later, but for the most part, most people are gonna get the 4470 premium, so that replaces our 4060, and then the 6070 premium, which is the new 6060. Kubota went all in on the 6060, honestly. It is geared towards snow removal 100% and some higher end hobby farmers. So this is a typical setup that we see on an L6060, front weights, Nepean tires, extended rear fenders, rear inverted snowblower on the back with a Nordic kit. That Nordic kit comes pretty well standard on the L6070 now. They have a new kit called the Nordic Pro. That's gonna come with some nice things like extended rear fenders, floating lift rods, some other things that are nice to have for a commercial snow removal guy, but really not as necessary as you might think because the tractor comes pretty well equipped for commercial snow removal right from factory now. You're gonna have a pump lube kit. You're gonna have those floating lift rods. You're gonna have 2 rear remotes at the back. You're gonna have heated mirrors, LED work lights. Stuff that would have previously been an add-on on the Nordic kit for the 6060 is now standard on the 6070. Some nice changes too is the cab is also much quieter. It's about 5 to 10 decibels quieter inside that cab, which is huge. So that's about twice as quiet inside the cab. If you're gonna be sitting in that cab for 8 to 10 hours an evening, if not more. Some operators during huge snow events spend days inside their cab. That's a huge difference. Also, the visibility is quite a bit better as well. So they're going with this new standard cab design with Kubota. What that means is instead of having the 6060 cab as you see here with your A, your B, and your C pillar around back, there's only an A and a B pillar. So that's a lot more visibility out the back. One thing you do lose though is the side glass. I know some people are going to be a bit bummed out about that because what would happen is in the winter when it would get hot inside the cab, you could just open up those side windows instead of having to open up the back window. Kubota does understand that, and what they did is they added a detent to the back glass. So instead of having to open the glass all the way up or all the way closed, there's actually a detent so you can crack it open about 4 or 5 inches open. You don't have to worry about your snowblower hitting the back glass, and then you can still get some airflow into the cab. They added side door defrosters, which is huge. So in the wintertime, what you'll see if you're not running with front fenders, a lot of snow and slush can get blasted up on the side door here. Those side window defrosters, it's gonna limit the amount of snow and slush that builds up on there. Standard, like always, you're gonna have their front window defroster. You're gonna also have the rear window defroster. Nothing to worry about there. They actually did redesign the seat as well. So there's gonna be a brand new seat that we're probably gonna sell on every single one of these tractors. It's gonna be a heated air ride seat that swivels. I know that doesn't sound like too much, but that is huge. If you can imagine going backwards all night with an inverted snowblower looking over your shoulder, just 30 degrees of swivel is gonna make a huge difference on your neck and back, not having to turn completely around. It's also gonna make it a lot easier to access the remotes on the right-hand side of the tractor. Instead of having to completely reach around to run your remotes, 30 degrees of swivel, you're a little bit more square to where the remotes are gonna be. Makes a big difference. There's also going to be an option for front and rear cameras. That again is a pretty neat upgrade that you can have. So the rear camera, that's going to be standard on the Nordic Pro Edition. So when you're backing up with the snowblower, you're gonna be able to see behind you with a camera instead of having to turn over your shoulder. I wouldn't trust it 100%, much like a backup camera on a vehicle. You're not really supposed to trust them 100%, but it is nice. If you're backing up, you kind of know you're close, quick look, and then check. Then you know you're a little bit close. Or if you're backing up onto a street, it's dark out, you can have a quick look at the camera, make sure there's no one directly behind the snowblower. Front camera too, not so necessary with a front weight setup like this, but if you had a front blade, that would be huge. Also, if you had a front loader, a front camera would be a great setup. So if you're looking to hook up a front implement on the front of the tractor, it's kind of tough to see all the way out there. You're able to see your loader, the end of your bucket, a lot easier. Hook up implements, move material. Pretty nice upgrade with that. There's also an option for a remote start to be installed in the tractor, and that is going to be a Kubota available kit. So it's not some aftermarket product. It's going to be a Kubota kit installed on the tractor. That is going to be nice for some of the operators that basically live with their tractors, have their tractor at their house. They're able to actually remote start it from their bedroom, get up, get ready, and then go hop in their nice warm tractor instead of having to go out there through the cold, start their cold tractor, and then get in it later. That is a pretty nice upgrade. They're also going to have a upgraded joystick inside the cab. So that's a loader joystick. I'll show a video of it. I did take a video of it at the event. Basically, there's going to be some buttons on it to flip between your 2-speed hydrostatic transmission. You can flip between the rabbit and turtle mode. Really nice to have that on the fly instead of having to remove your hand from the steering wheel and then flip it up and down on the dash column. And then there's also some other features on there as well that are pretty nice to have, some speed adjustments and stuff like that. Again, pretty fancy loader joystick. Really, really nice to have in a tractor of this price range and quality, and for commercial snow removal as well. You're also gonna have tilt and telescopic steering. That is pretty cool. So instead of just being able to go up and down with the tilt steering, it's also gonna have telescopic steering, much like pretty much any car nowadays. It'll go in and out as well. So they really went all in on operator comfort. And again, that's what I mean. It's pure snow removal tractor. They went all in on operator comfort, operator safety. They made it really, really nice to drive as a commercial snow removal company. Next, we're going to talk about some of the new skid steers that Kubota unveiled at the event. The two new ones are going to be the SVL 110-3 and the SVL 65-2S. I'm going to start by talking about the SVL 65-2S. This is actually a pretty nice upgrade that we've seen on the 65. It's not a full 65-3, and we'll get into that in a little bit. It's kind of an SVL 65 2.5. So it's halfway there. It comes with a lot of the new features, but then it's still missing some stuff as well. So the biggest things they did to it is give it the same treatment as the SVL 75-3 on the inside of the cab. You're gonna have that upgraded seat. You're gonna have the new LCD screen. So that's gonna have your keyless entry, built-in radio, LED lights, all the functionality of that screen is going to be on the SVL 65-2S, but it's not going to have the complete redesign. What I mean by that is it's not going to have the one-piece cab. So that's kind of a bit of a bummer for us because our techs in the shop, it's really easy to clean these cabs and maintain these cabs underneath the cab. If it's a one-piece cab, keeps it way cleaner. The 65-2S did not get that. They also didn't get the rework on the outside. A lot of these new skid steers, they have that new Dash 3 feel. They kind of look like Kubota's new construction lineup, like the new Dash 5 excavators. The Dash 3 skid steers are the same way. They're going with that same look. So the 97-3, the new 110-3, and then the 75-3, they all look the same. The 65-2S did not get that treatment, but the accessories that did get, the new cab inside, the LCD screen, LED lights, and new seat, huge upgrade. The next skid steer that we got was the SVL 110-3. This is a bit of a unique one. I honestly didn't see this coming at all. I know Kubota, they did mention that a bigger skid steer might be coming down the road, but they went ahead and they released it way sooner than I thought they ever would. It's pretty nice too, actually. I got to sit inside of it. It is identical to the 97-3 from a kind of a inside operator feel perspective. The cab's the same. The controls are the same, the radio is the same. It has all the Dash 3 features that you would expect, except it has 110 horsepower. That is a ton of horsepower. Kubota completely geared this machine towards people who are doing forestry attachments pretty much exclusively. It's gonna have more flow, better cooling, more horsepower. So it's gonna be able to run a bigger mulch head and a mulch head for longer without the need of having to let your hydraulic fluid cool with that better cooling system. It also lifts a little bit more than the 97-3, although this isn't entirely true, because what happens is the SVL 110 comes with the weight kit on the back of the machine. All these new skid steers, if you look at the back, they have 2 bolts at the back where you can bolt on a weight kit, and the 110 comes with that standard from factory. I suspect if you added the weight kit to the 97-3, you would get the exact same lift rating out of the 97-3, although that's not the biggest complaint that people have with the 97-3 and bigger skid steers in general. They're not looking to lift more. It is nicer to have the more flow, the more cooling, and the higher horsepower engine in that machine. One of the other new products Kubota was talking about was a new M6 line. So instead of the M6-1 that we're in now, we're gonna have the M6-2. There wasn't a whole lot of information that we got on this, although I suspect there's going to be some pretty big changes with the cab itself, because that's really what they've focused on in their presentation. They talked about how the cab was going to be more comfortable. They're going with that new Kubota style cab like we saw on the 6070. They're going with that same style of cab in this. More visibility, more operator comfort. They're going all in on operator comfort on the M6-2, it seems. So you're going to have a better seat, better dashboard inside, and then you're also going to have cab suspension as an option on the tractor as well. When I was talking with the guys at Kubota, they suspected that every single tractor bought in Canada would have the cab suspension just because of how nice it is. So what that does is it basically adds suspension to the cab itself. When you're driving down the road, through a field, anything like that, it is nice to have the suspension on the cab instead of having to rock around everywhere. An accumulator does help a little bit on the 3-point hitch, but to have that whole cab suspended adds an insane amount of operator comfort. So I do suspect that a lot of these tractors will be sold with that cab suspension feature. Other than that, we didn't get a whole lot of information on the new M6-2. Once we get one in our yard, I will do a video on it going over all the brand new changes in this model. The next thing Kubota unveiled was a new F-Series. This is going to be the F2510. It fits in the same lineup as the F3710. It's going to get a lot of the same treatment. This is an F2690. This is going to be the old generation, so this is going to get replaced by the F2510. Some of the big things that were changed on this is going to be a new parking brake system. There's going to be a new redesign on the front. It's going to look very similar to the F3710. Instead of it being black up here, it's going to be all orange with an LED headlight instead of a halogen headlight. Other than that, all the implements are going to be roughly the same. A lot of the attachments are the same on this tractor. And again, it's not a bad thing that they didn't go and redesign this thing completely. We sell a ton of F-Series. We're probably sell the most F-Series in Canada. By far, just for commercial snow removal. I just did a video on a F2690 commercial snow. I'll link that down below. But if you want to go check out that video, you'll see kind of how we equip them for sidewalk use. That is how most of them get sold. But again, these changes, they're not drastic, they're not huge, but they're kind of exactly what we wanted. The F2690 is an extremely reliable tractor. It's been very much the same since like the early 2000s, with only a couple of redesigns since then. And they've been bulletproof and they've been awesome for us. So again, they just changed the front end with an LED headlight, redesigned the front, redesigned the parking brake a little bit, and then they also redesigned the back hood, gave it a little bit more of a modern look and a modern paint job. Instead of being called a 2690, it's going to be called a 2510, but all your implements are still going to fit on the 2510. It's going to be the same cab, same mower, same everything, so nothing changes there. The next thing they unveiled at the Kubota Connect in Canada is a new tilt rotator from Kubota Canada. This is insane. So for the past couple of years, we've been selling Rototilt tilt rotators. We've had pretty good luck with them, but we've always been asking Kubota to release a tilt rotator that is from them, that we can order directly through Kubota Canada, that we're able to finance at 0%. Us as a dealership, we can floor plan. This is huge. So as a customer previously, you would have to buy the excavator itself, say at 0 for 48 months, for an example, and then you'd have to finance the tilt rotator at 8%, 9%, or blend the rate between the tilt rotator and the excavator itself at 1% for the whole package. This costs the customers thousands of dollars on their financing, or they had to pay for it out of pocket. And again, not something you want to do for a piece that's going to cost you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, depending on what attachments you get. Having one from Kubota Canada, we're able to floor plan it, and then the customer is able to finance at 0%. This is a win-win for everybody. So it's going to be actually supplied through Kotec, which is a bucket manufacturer in Canada already. They sell a lot of cool stuff for excavators, so definitely check them out if you have a moment. They sell a lot of cool stuff for Kubota excavators specifically. They have a premium quick attach coupler that you're able to dig straight, and then you can also flip the bucket around, dig in reverse. This tilt rotator is exceptional. So when we get one in March or April, I'll do a full video on it. I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to misspeak and say something that might not be on the tilt rotator, but we're really excited for it. I'll show some videos of it and some of the capabilities of it in a video somewhere around here. I did get quite a bit of footage on it, but again, next March, next April, we should have one available for our 8-ton machines and 5-ton machines. Really excited for that. Another thing Kubota announced at Kubota Connect is their new aftermarket parts line. It's called Treten, T-R-E-T-E-N. It's going to give customers the option to buy parts that Kubota deems as top quality, but not OEM parts at OEM parts prices. Again, this is going to be really nice for things like seats and tracks, which is really what Kubota is going after with this. If you've ever had to buy a replacement seat for a Kubota tractor, it's exceptionally expensive. Or if you've ever had to buy replacement tracks for an excavator or skid steer that are Kubota OEM tracks, they are really expensive. Us as a dealership here in Ottawa, we already stock OEM tracks for our excavators, skid steers, stand-on skid steers that are significantly cheaper. So now for us to be able to buy it through Kubota at a Kubota preferred vendor, that's going to be huge. It's also going to give the customer peace of mind that although they're not buying an OEM part, they are buying a part that Kubota deems to be high enough quality to go on their equipment. So that's going to be cool. I'm excited to see what kind of parts they have in that lineup. If it's only tracks and seats, I'd be extremely happy, but I also doubt they're going to just stick to that. They're probably going to expand it to a wide range of belts, blades, tires, pretty much anything you can think of, they're probably going to have in that parts lineup. And that's going to end today's video on the new products coming in 2026. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them with the knowledge that I have. Since we don't have any of the products right now, I can't answer anything too specific unless there's a brochure available, then I might be able to have a better answer that way. And as always, if you need help with part sales or service, give us a call at 613-225-0555. Thank you for watching.